Hello everyone, this is Judy from Kiloview and welcome to our special interview today. Today I'm going to have a very special guest. One of the reasons for this interview is, the 10th anniversary of NDI, and also Kiloview is also celebrating our 10 years journey with NDI, and of course, our story with NDI would not be complete if without our guest today, the creator of NDI, Dr.Andrew Cross. So Andrew, welcome to joining me, and thank you so much for your time. So tell us, how are you? How have you been? And I know, many of the very early stage NDI fans would be very excited to see you, to hear from you.
I've been doing well. It is just exciting for me to see and continue to see that NDI and what we started, 10 years ago now, I can't believe I actually find it hard to believe it's 10 years, is still something that is leaving a mark. That's very humbling and exciting. So I'm doing well.
That's great to hear. So, we have known each other for many years, and this is really the first time we have this kind of chance to sit together, talk about NDI. So my great honor. And of course, I have to say, is if without you, then we will not really start the NDI journey. And right now we know NDI ecosystem has becoming expanding, and I know there are quite a lot of the new NDI adopters, partners, and users. We are very honored, we had the chance to witness the very beginning, but I think for quite a lot of the new users, new adopters, probably they missed the very beginning story. So that's why we would like to organize this interview, and I would like to asking you to share a little bit of the early moments, like how this crazy idea was born, how it was grown, and also how do you see the NDI development. So maybe we can start talking about the birth of NDI. So my first question for you would be, can you actually take us back a little bit to the very beginning, how NDI was born, and what were you just trying to solve at that time? At that time, maybe 10 years ago, it was more baseband, and why are you thinking maybe you need a new way to move the video around?
We started NDI, I think, there were probably a confluence of different things that are the reason why NDI happened. And I think that the first one was we believed very strongly that computers would be the future of video production. Today we almost take that for granted. I think we do everything on computers today. But, 10, 15 years ago, that wasn't an assumption. In fact, I think the general assumption was computers are where you check your email, you could never trust it for production. And I think we believed that computers would become the future of how video is produced. Now, the challenge, of course, is that computers the native language of computers is not SDI or HDMI. The native language of computers is going to be IP. And so if you believe that the future of production is going to move towards computers, and computers, the magical thing is that they run software. You must believe that the future has to be something where video moves over IP. It is easily accessible in software and runs on computers. And this seemed so obvious, except there was nothing in the industry that was really doing this. The existing IP protocols, I think there was a recognition that IP could be important. But the existing IP protocols were built not around what software needs were, but around what hardware needs were. And so we saw this huge opportunity, and I shouldn't say that, we saw this need. Our customers we needed there to be a way to move video around that would work really well on computers and would work really well with software. And we strongly believed that if we did this, this would be one of the things that allowed, video production to become possible on computers. And it was not to us a question of whether this would happen. It was so obvious that this is the direction that things would go. And the only question was, there's nothing that does it today. Do we wait for somebody else to do it, or do we believe that this is important enough that we should do it? And we clearly fell into the category of, no, we believe this is really important. We believe this is what's going to enable video on computers. And so this is something that we should help create. And that is, kind of the set of thoughts that led us to creating NDI.
That's really a very great idea to start with this kind of, a new stuff, new technology to bring NDI out. And of course, I believe, always you are the kind of person that you always, when you want to do something, you will have a kind of vision. You want to think big. You want to dream big. So, what's the very original vision you wanted to do, or what's that about? The vision.
So the vision was clear. I think if you going back to what I just said, if you believe certain things, and if you believe software is the future, you believe computers are the future, and you believe that IP video or IP is the native language of computers, it is obvious that you need to solve that problem. And if you do solve that problem, you're solving one of the biggest issues that the industry will face. To me, it seemed very clear that that the path of the industry was headed one direction, and we needed to stand in the way of that path, which is to build a protocol that made it easy to produce live video in software. And in doing so, we totally believe that this would be good for us, but we also totally believe this is what the industry and customers would need. And so, the vision was that if we can do this, we help change the way video production is done, make it more accessible to more people. And in doing this, we change how video is used. And so those were the things that drove us to do it. And it just seemed a logical outcome from these three core things, which were just, software plus IP plus computers. And if you believe those things, they're still true today. If you believe those things, then there is no other option but to do this. So that is what drove us, and that is what the vision was to create. And I think 10 years later, it is clear that those things were right. I think it is a very interesting question on whether there's now more things. It's not just three, maybe there's 4 or 5 things, but I still believe that this vision, those three, remain true today.
Yeah, I think definitely we agree about that. And as you mentioned, the vision is if we do that, we can change it. And I can recall in 2019, I believe there was an NAB time, right? I think at that time we talked about NDI 4.5 or something, and together we changed the world. I still believe that slogan. So yeah, you previously mentioned, right now it's 10 years. So right now we can see NDI is almost everywhere. It's very widely adopted, NDI technology, the IP technology. So do you feel is moving the way that you are envisioned, or is just moving a little bit around, or what do you think of the development in NDI now after 10 years?
Well, this is a tough question, and I think it is a little bit like asking you if your children are amazing, and everybody thinks their children are amazing, and NDI is amazing. And so I think I would never be able to say what I think is wrong with my own children. Let me answer it maybe in a slightly different way and say where the opportunities are for my children. So I said clearly that I thought that there were three key things that are the reason we created it: software, network, and computers. And I kind of hinted that I think that there are more than 3 today. And I think that the way we produce software has changed in 10 years. 10 years ago, we were using Windows and we were using, compiled applications, and that's no longer the way a lot of software is developed now. I think we're using web stack, we're using mobile. Like, the software piece of that has changed over those 10 years. And I think it's important to recognize that change, and I think it's important to adapt to that change. I think that where high bandwidth and connectivity was local networks, I think that has changed. I think we now are in a highly interconnected world where increasingly you have access to high bandwidth everywhere, and it's still very difficult to send signals around the world, as we know from recording this broadcast. We need to solve that. And finally, I think that, clearly AI and cloud and browsers, there's things there that are happening that are changing the way we all develop software, we all use software, that are very new. Those are just 1 or 2 years old, and I think that clearly we need to be thinking around how video plays into those areas, and how those areas they will make video production fundamentally easier and better. And we need to be thinking about how in the future we connect all of that together. And so if your question was, so your children, they're now 10 years old, and you're looking at what is the direction you want them to grow in, I think those are the areas that I would point to.
Okay, that's a very good answer, Andrew. So, when we were talking 10 years ago and 10 years now, so I think quite a lot of things has changed. So even including the AV over IP technologies, as you mentioned, at that time, no one was doing that. And then you were thinking about bringing NDI out. And right now, on the markets, there are quite a lot of different IP technologies. Audio video technologies. So even for NDI, we can see there are challenges, there are competitors. So my next question would be, how do you see those kind of new technologies if compared with NDI? Do you think NDI is still very competitive?
Once again, I want to be, it's very hard to criticize your children, and so I don't want to. My children are perfect. Both my real children and NDI, and every product I've ever made. I think that what made NDI different, there's something like even 10 years ago, why does NDI seem bigger than just, 10 years later, why does NDI seem bigger than just an IP protocol? Like we could just be saying now, look, hey, did the X transport mechanism, or the encryption or the codec, how are those looking 10 years old? And we didn't. I didn't answer the question that way. What I answered was I gave you the reasons why we did it. And I gave you what we were trying to achieve. I said that these were what we saw as the customer need. The customer need was clearly going to be, we need to make production easier on computers. And I think that if protocols, this isn't about what a technology does, it's about what problems that technology solves. And so there are lots of IP protocols today. If NDI or any of them are just totally focused on what the big problems for customers are, it makes it bigger than a technology. And so I think while NDI remains that, while it remains not a technology, but remains something that matters to customers, it will always be important. If it stops doing that, then it won't be, and then it's just like every other IP protocol. And I think one of the things that we, and I was involved in, did very well was make NDI not about the technology. We never went out and talked about how we'd implemented MDNS or how we implemented DCT-based compression. Instead, we went out and still today talk about what we were doing that would make things better for everybody wanting to build video products. While you stay true to that, you will always succeed, and and others won't. And so, as long as NDI continue to do that, I will continue to always believe in it. That doing things that matter for customers is what wins. Building technologies is how you do that, but it's not a replacement for that. So there are lots of IP protocols today. If the ones that solve the customers' problems the best will win.
Yeah, actually, for this topic, when we were producing all those kind of videos, once I talked to Jacob about this same question as well, and Jacob mentioned actually, he said the most exciting point that actually attracted him to continue contributing to the NDI is actually because of the vision. Even 10 years ago, you have already structured a very good those kind of base, software based, and also thinking about all the possible applications. So which actually I believe is because we have the technology. Sometimes we think technology is not really so complicated, but having the vision, having the base to think about the applications, getting everything ready, and also having a story that really inspires people will be more important to making a technology successful. So that's from from our side when Jacob was thinking about that or talking about that. So that's also why he always say you
Yes.
already have a very good vision for those kind of new things. And so I know if we looking ahead, we see definitely there are more and more companies, even including the big companies like AWS, all supporting NDI, and also I believe there will be more different adopters will be joining the NDI ecosystem. So I mean, from the creators perspective, what's your suggestion for all those adopters, or the ecosystem players? What's your suggestion for them? And even your suggestion for Kiloview, what we can continue on top of NDI? Maybe some suggestions which direction you see we have the opportunities.
Absolutely. I think, look, I've spoken about this a number of times over the years at different events. I think that if you take a step back and you once again, you think, what are the problems we're all trying to solve? What are the problems customers and companies and humans are trying to solve? And why? We get back to what the internet has done, what global connectivity has done is connected everybody, and we use it to communicate with each other. Video is the best way there is of ever communicating. It's what humans, we get more information through seeing it than we ever will through hearing it or feeling it, and so it seems just inevitable to me that the video and the use of video and making video more accessible to more people and making it easier to produce are absolute truths that will cover every area. And I think that every company who is building tools that users use should be very clear that the way that users can communicate the best is going to be over video. But it's got to be easy. You've got to make it easy. You've got to make it run anywhere. You've got to make it run on the computers and the systems that they're using, which are not always just computers. It's sometimes mobile now. It's sometimes thermostats now. It's sometimes light switches now. But if people remain true to the vision that making video easier and making it more accessible to more people, I think that they will do well. And I think that NDI helped create that. I think that is still too hard. It's still just video producers who do it. But if every company remains true to the vision that at some point video will be the natural way we all communicate, and internet is what enables this, I think that they will see huge opportunity.
Thank you, Andrew. So I really, really appreciate you sharing all those insights and also bring me, some memories back. So, when talking about our common memories, when we, when we designed our NDI booth last month, I was thinking how we should show the sign we really started. I mean, Kiloview's journey with NDI, where did we start? And actually, I just remember the photo, a kind of picture you sent me. You put wireless, and at that time it was not really an NDI encoder, but it's just a normal encoder on the kitchen counter. So actually, that's really the sign where Kiloview starts with NDI. So that's really quite a good memory.
Oh, absolutely. Kiloview, I've been working with you since the very first days of NDI, and I think that we worked out together very early on how can we make devices quickly. Look, hardware normally takes years and years and years to build, and we didn't want to wait years and years. We wanted to make it so that everybody could access NDI quickly, and Kiloview were inspiring and amazing in helping that happen. So NDI ended up with devices long before anybody else, and part of that was like our close partners, of which you were one of the largest and first, helped make that possible, and that was remarkable, and it was fun.
Thank you. I mean, always you have been helping us a lot, supporting us a lot, and also inspiring us a lot. So, at the end of this conversation, I would really hope our conversation today can also inspire some of the new NDI doctors, while also can bring some good memories of all those, especially the NDI fans initially when you announced NDI. I know there are quite a lot of the crazy followers still following what you are doing, what you are thinking about NDI. So I just hope this video can help a little bit. And from Kiloview side, we have been so proud to be really very first NDI adopters because of you, Andrew. And we will continue. We'll continue this journey, and
That's
of course, we will look forward to see what will happen with NDI. So thank you so much, Andrew. Thank you for your time.
My pleasure.
Thank you for everything. Yeah, just keep well. See you.